want me to start? Hello, everyone. Welcome to our parent Q&A session number 2. We're here at the Board of Education office. I'm Karen Young, the board president, and I'm here with some of our administrators here that are going to help answer some questions about our reopening plan. I'm going to turn it over to Superintendent Bradley so she can give an overview and just kind of an outline before we get into the parent questions.
Thank you, President Young. And good morning to everyone joining us today for the second parent question and answer session relating to the Lockport City School District's reopening plan as part of the governor's request for schools to conduct such sessions. Before we open up the session for questions and answers, I do want to take a little bit of time to provide some background, context, and some updates before we begin. The Lockport City School District submitted its plan to the New York State Education Department and the New York State Department of Health, along with posting it on its website on Friday, July 31st. The plan can be accessed at www.lockportschools.org/reopening. At this site, you will also find a document titled Frequently Asked Questions, FAQ. This document is for your reference and will continue to be updated as common questions are asked. The development of the plan, which for the most part took place between July 15th, when guidance was released by the New York State Education Department and the New York State Department of Health, and July 31st, when each district was required to post a school reopening plan, has been considered a fluid, flexible, and evolving plan. During the 2-week time frame, many meetings were conducted with a variety of district staff members, representatives, local health officials, area and statewide administrators, including the Commissioner of Education, and surveys have been completed by parents and teachers. You have seen that there are many assurance areas included in the plan. The areas receiving the most attention include health and safety, including COVID-19 testing and contact tracing, school schedule, and for Lockport, that means an every other day model or a 2-1-2 model, which we'll discuss a little bit later, and remote learning through either a hybrid model or a full remote learning model. On Friday, August 7th, Governor Cuomo announced that schools may reopen in the fall, but must explicitly post 3 parts of the reopening plan on the district website by August 14th. The 3 posted plans must address COVID-19 testing, contact tracing, and remote learning. These 3 plans have been posted and are available by visiting www.lockportschools.net/reopening. At this time, I will summarize the plan for COVID-19 testing and contact tracing based on recent meetings with Niagara County Health Director Daniel Stapleton and Health Department staff members. COVID testing will not take place in schools. An individual's healthcare provider determines if a test must be done. The Department of Health will conduct all testing. When a positive test result is received by the Department of Health, they will contact the individual. In our case, it would either be the parent of a student or a staff member. The district will be notified of the confirmed case, and in Lockport, Lisa Schrader, the Assistant Superintendent for Personnel, and one of 2 board-appointed HIPAA officers will be contacted by the Department of Health when there is a confirmed case within the district. Next, the Department of Health will begin to coordinate contact tracing, which is a method for determining who else may need to be tested or isolated. The criteria for close contact is less than 6 feet apart from the individual with a confirmed case for 10 minutes or more. The school district will cooperate with the Department of Health contact tracing efforts by maintaining a log of all people in buildings, classrooms, and on buses. According to the Department of Health, family members of an individual with a confirmed case will be notified and officially quarantined. Please remember that information related to COVID-19 cases is confidential, and COVID cases reported on social media may be very different from confirmed COVID cases reported to the district by the health department. Testing sites in Niagara County have been reduced from 13 to 8 due to kits not being readily available and a short supply of reagent. A list of testing sites is made available by the Department of Health on its website. It is reported that the Niagara County Community College site will continue to operate while school is in session there and as weather permits. The CDC recommends against testing everyone before returning to school or work. The shared hope is that a reliable and rapid test becomes available for every school. However, such a test does not exist or is widely available at this time. It is very important that parents conduct a daily temperature and symptom screening on children prior to leaving the house and before they board a bus or are dropped off at school. If a child has a temperature of 100 degrees or higher or presents with symptoms, the child should stay home and a health care provider should be contacted. All students and staff are required to wear masks and have their temperature taken daily once they have reported to school or work. Students are required to wear masks on school buses. Teachers will incorporate mask breaks during the day for students, including while eating meals. When an individual exhibits symptoms in a school, the individual will report to the nurse's office, then be placed in the isolation room, and then sent home. A health care provider should be contacted to complete an assessment of the symptoms, and it is the health care provider who makes the determination for testing. In addition to a fever of 100 degrees or higher, other symptoms include cough, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, chills, muscle pain, headache, sore throat, new loss of taste or smell, or gastrointestinal tract symptoms. The Lockport City School District will collaborate with the local health department to determine parameters and conditions of metrics such as increased absenteeism or increased illness in the school community that will serve as early warning symptoms that positive COVID-19 cases may be increasing beyond an acceptable level. At minimum, schools will close in accordance with direction from the governor and the New York State Health Department. The Lockport City School District will ensure adherence to hygiene and cleaning, disinfection requirements as advised by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the New York State Department of Health. Although these cleaning and disinfectant measures will be placed, please stay home when you feel sick. Cover your nose and your mouth with an acceptable face covering. Adhere to social distancing instructions. Report symptoms of or exposure to COVID-19. Follow hand hygiene and follow respiratory hygiene and cough etiquette. Students, faculty, and staff will be trained on proper hand and respiratory hygiene, and such information will be provided to parents and/or legal guardians on ways to reinforce this at home. As a result of the virus and the unusual and rapidly changing circumstances that schools across the country are facing as reopening plans are developed, the Lockport City School District determined that a full in-person model of instruction is impossible at this time due to social distancing requirements. Therefore, a hybrid model of instruction is being planned. The hybrid model includes students being assigned to a blue cohort with the primary family last name A through K, or a gold cohort with primary family last name L through Z. There are many different hybrid models that have been developed across the region. In July, the Lockport hybrid model included an every other day schedule for students to attend school. Since then, there have been questions and requests for the district to consider a 2-1-2 hybrid model. This model includes students in the blue cohort attending school in person on Monday and Tuesday and participating in remote learning on Thursday and Friday. Gold cohort students would attend school on Thursday and Friday in person and participate in remote learning on Monday and Tuesday. On Wednesdays, no students report to school. All staff members report to work. Wednesday would be used as a day for teachers to connect with their students remotely for some portion of the day. It would also be used for professional development, if necessary, for teachers and administrators, instructional planning purposes, and deeper cleaning and disinfecting in classrooms and buildings. In addition to the hybrid model, a full remote learning option was offered by the district as a parent choice. During typical remote learning, the student and teacher are not in person, and teaching and learning is conducted through the use of a variety of technology tools such as discussion boards, video conferencing, and online assessments. In both the remote learning hybrid model and the full remote learning option, both synchronous learning and asynchronous learning will occur. Synchronous learning takes place in real time with teacher-student interaction through technology. This could include a Google Meet session with a teacher at a certain time for instruction, answering questions, providing feedback, and is a mandatory attendance checkpoint. Asynchronous learning takes place anytime for the student and is independent of the teacher. The teacher may post assignments in Google Classroom. Students may be assigned to watch an educational video or watch a lesson from the teacher that day and complete assignments as scheduled by the teacher. It is very possible that the district may need to close and shift to a full remote learning model for everyone during the course of the school year, if mandated. The first day of school for students has been changed to Tuesday, September 8th. It will be a full day for all kindergarten through sixth grade students in the blue cohort. Typically, the first day of school for students K through 6 has been a half a day. All staff will be reporting to work on September 1st, 2nd, and 3rd for professional development and curriculum and instruction preparation. The Board of Education will amend the 2020-2021 school calendar at its meeting on August 19th to reflect the first day of school for students. And at this time, I will turn the discussion over to President Young to begin the question and answer session. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. And we do have our interpreter here again today. Thank you for joining us. He will be translating Superintendent Bradley's opening remarks after the meeting, and we will make sure that those get posted. But we will have him translate each question as we're going through, as we did last week, Wednesday. So we'll get started. Some of these questions we did just go over, but just to reiterate the answers, we will make sure everybody has their question read again. So I have two questions.
Y como en la otra cita tenemos un intérprete presente, el intérprete va a traducir todas las preguntas y todas las respuestas, y después del fin de la sesión vamos a traducir la introducción de Superintendente Bradley.
First two questions. How do you know whether your child is blue or gold? When will we learn our child's teacher/color day?
Y las primeras preguntas, ¿cómo sabe si su niño se cae en el grupo azul o el grupo de oro y cuando sabemos a los maestros y las días de asistencia.
Students have been assigned to either a blue cohort or a gold cohort. Students with the primary family household last name, beginning with A through K, have been assigned to a blue cohort. Students with the primary family household last name of beginning L through Z have been assigned to a gold cohort. As soon as remote learning registration is concluded, and we know students who are going to be in the full remote learning option, class lists at each building will be determined and principals will be notifying parents of their students' assignment.
Y cada estudiante está designado en el grupo azul o el grupo de oro. Los estudiantes con un apellido, los estudiantes que viven en una casa con inscripción de apellido de A a K, se designa al grupo azul. Los estudiantes de una casa con inscripción de apellido que empieza con L a Z se cae en el grupo de oro. Después de determinar los estudiantes que van a participar en el aprendizaje remoto, los maestros se reúnen en las escuelas para preparar una lista de las escuelas y las maestras y se la manda a las familias.
Next question. Will there be an orientation for children entering ninth grade? And I'd like to add, we could probably speak about all of the orientations for each grade.
Y la próxima pregunta, ¿hay una orientación para los estudiantes entrando en el 90 grado? Y también yo quiero añadir que debemos hablar de las orientaciones de los estudiantes de todos los grados.
Building principals, along with their building level reopening committees and the staff members at each building, are working on developing orientation sessions for students and parents. That information will be coming soon from each building principal.
Y los directores de cada edificio más los comités de reapertura y el personal de la escuela está preparando información acerca de las orientaciones y esa información debe estar disponible prontito.
These next questions are along the same lines, so we'll group those together.
Y las preguntas a continuación se trata del mismo tema, entonces vamos a leerlas juntos.
Will we also find out who their teacher is, what their daily schedule will look like?
Y también sabemos cuál es el maestro y cómo aparece el horario diario.
What do the high school hours mean? Why are there two sets of times, 7:40 a.m. to 2:15 p.m., 7:58 a.m. to 2:28 p.m.?
¿Y qué significan las horas de escuela secundaria y por qué hay dos grupos de horas diferentes? Uno de 7:40 hasta las 2:15 y la otra de 7:58 hasta 2:28.
Will school times still be the same once they are doing remote learning?
Y las horas escolares quedan iguales cuando los estudiantes están participando en aprendizaje remoto.
During remote learning days, will students be expected to meet with their teacher at specific times or complete lessons at specific times?
Y En los días de aprendizaje remoto se espera que los estudiantes se reúnan con los maestros a una hora específica o que entrega tarea a una hora específica.
So I think all those questions kind of relate to the schedule and what a child's schedule will look like. So if we could have an answer for that, please.
Thank you, President Young. In general, the student hours will remain the same as they have been. So for specific hours, grade levels, you'll want to contact your building principal. Although I believe those hours are posted on our website. Teachers are, as they begin planning for this unusual start to the school year, one area that's being emphasized is that teachers create a daily and weekly schedule. This will be a big difference between spring remote learning and the new school year. It's going to be very important that as we approach synchronous and asynchronous learning this year in a more coordinated fashion, that teachers have specific schedules for students and parents and of course themselves to follow.
Entonces las horas escolares quedan iguales como eran antes y también esas horas son encuentras en nuestro website, pero como seguimos adelante es bien importante que los maestros ponen un horario y ese horario sería diferente que el horario que usaron en la primavera pasada. Y es importante que ellos coordinen entre las horas para el aprendizaje sincronado y asincronado y coordinar con los estudiantes.
How will the before and after school care programs work?
¿Y qué pasa con los programas de cuidado antes y después de escuela?
Ms. Coder, would you like to answer that question?
Yes, thank you, President Young. That was actually my question because I had information for our parents. I was able to speak with Steve Henshaw, the Executive Director of the YMCA this morning at 10:15. He has confirmed parents will be charged the part-time rate for the days that the children are actually in school during their cohort. So there will not be a full-time rate, and that was one of our parents' concerns at the first virtual meeting. Steve Henshaw also confirmed they're in the process of securing a second location to offer full-time care for the students when they are not attending on their cohort days, and they will structure those fees as a daily rate. So he will have more information for me today at 2:30 p.m. because they were seeing an alternate site at 1 o'clock today. And I do have a meeting with the YWCA at 2:30 today to find out their details. So I will post those to the Q&A when I have that information.
Y gracias por la pregunta. Y yo hablo esta mañana con Steve Henshaw, el director ejecutivo del YMCA, y él me informó para los días en que los estudiantes solo están en clase part-time o horas o medio tiempo, solo le cobran a los padres medio tiempo también. Y el director también me dijo que ellos están en proceso de buscar otra facilidad para usar, para proveer cuidado de los niños por tiempo completo para los días en que los estudiantes están participando en aprendizaje remoto. Y voy a hablar con el mismo director hoy a las 2:30 para que él me da más información acerca de esto.
Okay, we've got two questions on the next topic. They say I should contact the principal for remote learning. What's the way?
Y tenemos dos preguntas. Primero, ¿cómo contacto al director de la escuela para preguntarle acerca del aprendizaje remoto?
Will parents receive confirmation after we sign up our child for virtual school?
Y los padres van a recibir confirmación después de inscribir los estudiantes para aprendizaje remoto.
You may contact your building principal either through phone, calling them on the phone, or through email. And those phone numbers and emails, I believe, Dr. LaPuma, are listed on our website.
Yes, that's correct.
Or if you need information, you may call the receptionist here at the Board of Education Building Central Office at 478-4811. That's 478-4811 to obtain either a principal's telephone number in their office or their email address. And yes, once students are assigned to a remote teacher, just like a classroom teacher, principals will be sending that information to parents.
Para contestar la primera pregunta, usted puede contactar al director del edificio o la escuela que su niño asista. Puede contactar por teléfono o por email. Y los teléfonos y los emails se encuentran en nuestro website. O si quiere, puede llamar a la recepcionista aquí en la oficina del distrito y el número de recepcionista es 478-4811, otra vez 478-4811. Y para contestar a la segunda pregunta, si a la vez que los estudiantes estén designados un maestro, usted va a recibir una carta en el correo informándole con la información de maestro, igual como fuera un año escolar normal.
Will my daughter in UPK be provided a tablet or laptop to do her remote learning days? I have a daughter in first grade who still has her tablet from kindergarten last year. Will she just keep that to do her remote learning?
Y a mi hija que asistirá a pre-K, ¿se proviene un tablet o una computadora para que ella participe en los días de aprendizaje remoto? Y tengo otra hija en el primer grado que todavía tiene su tablet del kinder. ¿Ella sigue usando el mismo tablet para hacer su trabajo este año?
As part of Lockport City School District's one-to-one initiative, students will keep the device that they were assigned when they enter the district as either a kindergarten student or a new student. The UPK, we continue to work with the providers of that program, and I'll have Dr. LaPuma respond to how those students will be getting devices.
Y como parte de la iniciativa one-on-one o uno-a-uno, los estudiantes van a seguir usando los dispositivos que recibieron en kinder. En cuanto de los dispositivos para los estudiantes de pre-K, yo pido que el Dr. LaPuma conteste esa pregunta.
Thanks for the question. All UPK students are going to be issued iPads. We're working on a distribution plan for that. And all students who have a device and are moving into the next grade level will take that device with them. We're working on distribution plans and exchanges of equipment. Sixth graders moving to seventh graders will turn in their iPads and get Chromebooks. So expect more information on those distribution days and exchanges that will be coming soon.
Sí, los estudiantes de pre-K recibirán unos iPads para usar para aprendizaje remoto. En cuanto de los estudiantes de kinder que ya tienen un dispositivo, ellos siguen usando este dispositivo y vamos a mandar más información acerca de los planes y días de distribución de los iPads a los de pre-K y también los estudiantes que se están trasladando de 6 a 7 grado. Ellos tienen que cambiar sus iPads para unos Chromebooks y ustedes van a recibir más información acerca de esto en el futuro cercano.
How often will students have the opportunity to wash their hands during the course of the school day?
¿Y cuántas veces los estudiantes tendrán la oportunidad para lavarse las manos en el curso del día escolar?
Classrooms will be provided with soap, providing they have water in their classrooms, and some do. All classrooms will be provided with hand sanitizer, and it will be the teacher's discretion to monitor the need for hand washing or use of sanitizer throughout the school day.
Y en las clases en que se encuentra un fregadero, se encuentra también sabón y cada clase tendrá hand sanitizer de manos y será el deber del maestro de salón para monitorear y asegurar que los estudiantes laven las manos durante el día.
This question is specifically about 7th and 9th graders eating lunch, but could we answer where all students will be eating their lunches during the school day?
Y esa pregunta es específicamente pregunta dónde los estudiantes de 7 a 9 grado comen el almuerzo, pero vamos a contestar en general donde todos los estudiantes van a comer su almuerzo.
Ms. Coder and Mrs. Schrader, would you address the lunch schedule, please?
Yes, students in grades K through 6 will be eating lunch in their classrooms. Students at the secondary level in grades 7 through 12 will be eating lunch in the cafeterias that will be socially distanced to allow them to eat safely.
Los estudiantes del kinder a 7º grado, ellos van a comer almuerzo en los salones, mientras que los estudiantes en la escuela secundaria, es decir, de 7 a 12, ellos comerán en la cafetería usando la técnica de distanciamiento social para que ellos puedan comer sin riesgo.
The next questions are going to be about masks.
Y las próximas preguntas se tratan de las mascarillas.
How often and for how long are mask breaks? And will the breaks be inside or outside?
¿Con qué frecuencia y por cuánto tiempo ocurren los descansos de las máscaras y ellos toman esos descansos dentro del edificio o afuera del edificio?
If a student is granted a medical exemption to wear a mask, will they be in the same classes as the students that must wear a mask?
Y si un estudiante tiene una exención médica de poner una máscara, ese estudiante estará en el mismo salón con los estudiantes que tienen que llevar una máscara.
It seems counterproductive to have students with and without masks together. Same question for the buses.
Y parece inconveniente para tomar estudiantes llevando máscaras y estudiantes no llevando máscaras en el mismo lugar. Y la misma pregunta o el mismo comentario se aplica a los guaguas.
What is the discipline for students who don't wear a mask and or intentionally try to expose another student?
¿Y cuáles son las medidas disciplinarias para los estudiantes que rechazan llevar una mascarilla o para los estudiantes que exponen otros de manera a propósito?
Mask breaks will be provided throughout the school day at the discretion of the teacher. Typically, during the month of September, it can become very warm in our classrooms. So teachers will be continually monitoring students and the need for a mask break. Masks will not be worn, obviously, during meals. And mask breaks could occur both inside in a classroom or outdoors.
Los descansos del máscara serán a discreción de los maestros. Claro que en el mes de septiembre hay mucho calor dentro de los salones y claro que los estudiantes no llevan las mascarillas cuando está comiendo y los descansos pueden ocurrir dentro del salón o afuera del salón.
Students that have a medical note for not wearing a mask, those types of situations are being reviewed by our school physician to determine appropriate placement and or accommodations in those particular cases.
Y en cuanto de los estudiantes que tienen exención de llevar una máscara, el médico del distrito está repasando esto para determinar el mejor concurso de acción.
Students who are finding it difficult to wear a mask, the teacher will contact the parent initially to try to correct the behavior. If the principal needs to become involved, that can also take place. And if the behavior is continual, perhaps a discussion about shifting to full remote learning may need to take place.
Y en cuanto de los estudiantes que encuentran problema en llevar las máscaras, primero se contactará a los padres, es posible involucrar el director de la maestra y si el problema sigue, es posible que van a hablar de la necesidad de poner ese estudiante en aprendizaje remoto 100%.
If a student in a class tests positive, will entire classes be subject to quarantine? And will parents be told of the positive case in their student's classroom? And does the whole room have to be tested prior to return?
Si un estudiante en la clase sale con un prueba positivo para el COVID, esto significa que tiene que mandar todos los estudiantes de la clase a la casa y también tiene que realizar prueba para todos los estudiantes antes que ellos puedan regresar al salón.
If a child has a temperature, will you notify the parents like normal? And before returning to school, will they have to be quarantined for 14 days?
Y si un estudiante sale con temperatura alta, se informa a los padres como es la práctica normal. Y también un estudiante que sale con esta temperatura tiene que mantener en cuarentena por 14 días antes que puede regresar a la escuela.
The district will continue to work through the protocol for confirmed cases. It's with the Department of Health, the Niagara County Department of Health. It's the Niagara County Department of Health that has the official authority for quarantining. So when a confirmed case is determined, the Department of Health will notify the individuals, will conduct a contact tracing, will notify the individuals and determine who needs to be quarantined. They will notify the district, and the district is working on finalizing the notification of parents for a confirmed case.
Entonces, en cuanto de esto, estamos cumpliendo con los requisitos del Departamento de Salud del Condado Niagara. Esa organización es responsable para notificar a los individuos a través de contact tracing o rastreo de contactos. También el Departamento de Salud del Condado de Erie contactará al distrito para informarles y ellos están trabajando, nosotros estamos trabajando en desarrollar nuestro plan de esto.
Just a follow up about the temperature. If they only have a temperature, do they have to quarantine? for 14 days.
Mrs. Schrader, respond to that, please.
Y para clarificar, si un estudiante sale solo con temperatura elevada, ¿significa que tiene que estar en cuarentena por 14 días?
Should a student present with a temperature while at school, the school nurses will be in contact with the parents or guardians and refer them to the student's primary care physician for follow-up and next steps.
Si un estudiante sale con temperatura alta en la escuela, se manda a la enfermera y la enfermera contactará a los padres o los guardias del estudiante y le da una referida a su profesional de salud para tomar los próximos pasos.
If a child is participating in remote learning for the first 10 weeks only, will they have a different teacher once they start in November?
Si un estudiante está participando en aprendizaje remoto completo por las primeras 10 semanas de la escuela, cuando empieza en la propia escuela en noviembre, ¿tendrá un maestro diferente?
Throughout the first 10 weeks of this school year, we will continue to monitor and stay updated with the conditions of COVID-19 and the impact that those conditions and those metrics will have on school, the school schedule. So right now that's premature to answer until we know where we're at come 10 weeks. And again, I remind everyone that we may be required or mandated to go to a full remote learning model, and we would have to make those adjustments at that time. Or we may be allowed to return to a full in-person model at that time, and we would have to make adjustments to do that.
Durante de las primeras 10 semanas seguimos monitorizando las condiciones y el impacto de COVID. Entonces, yo tengo que decir que es un poquito temprano en este momento contestar a esa pregunta. Y también me gustaría recordarles que tiene que considerar que la posibilidad en el futuro que se requiere, empezamos con un sistema de aprendizaje remoto completo.
Okay, this is one we've already answered, but just to reiterate, do you have to get tested to go back to school?
Y, ya contestemos esa pregunta, pero para repetir, tiene que tomar una prueba de corona para regresar a la escuela.
COVID-19 testing is determined by the individual's healthcare provider, and return to school or work would also be reviewed based on that determination.
La necesidad para una prueba de COVID, say the second part of what you said.
Testing is determined by an individual's healthcare provider, and return to school or work would be based on that determination.
Y el retorno a escuela o trabajo está basada en la determinación del proveedor individual de salud.
Can students switch to all remote learning if they feel unsafe after trying the hybrid schedule?
Y después de probar el horario mezclado, si un estudiante no se siente seguro, puede elegir hacer aprendizaje remoto completo.
Registration for remote learning has been extended to Thursday, August 20th, 2020. The district needs to have enrollment numbers for both full remote learning and the hybrid model to plan accordingly for assignments for transportation. Shifting into a remote learning model during the first quarter would need to be handled on a case-by-case situation, depending on enrollment.
Se amplió el vencimiento para inscribir por aprendizaje remoto hasta el jueves, el 20 de agosto. El distrito necesita los números fijos para planear todo, incluso el transporte. Después de esto, alguna pedida de transferir de un programa a otro se determina en el basis del individuo.
These next two questions we did go over, but just want to read them again.
Y estas dos preguntas ya las pasamos, pero yo quiero leerlas otra vez.
Is the district considering changing the blue gold system to Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday schedule?
El distrito está considerando cambiar el sistema azul y de oro a un horario lunes, martes, jueves, viernes.
And this is a comment. They said, with the 2-1-2 model, isn't that a long time for the kids to be out of the classroom? It's a 5-day gap when they were in the class until the next time they go back to school.
Y sigue un comentario, si usamos el horario 2-1-2, esto no significa que los estudiantes estarán afuera de escuela por mucho tiempo, es decir, hay 5 días entre la asistencia.
The original model proposed for school reopening was an every other day model where blue cohort and gold cohort students attend school in person every other day. Since then, the district has been approached and has explored the 2-1-2 model, where students in the blue cohort would attend on Mondays and Tuesdays, students in a gold cohort would attend Thursday, Fridays, and the Wednesday would be remote day for all students. There is no perfect model, and there are advantages to the two options that the district is exploring. The advantage to the every other day model and the emphasis to that model is maximizing instructional time for students. In other words, by attending school in person every other day, students are in front of a certified teacher over a 2-week period of a total of 5 instructional days. The longest that they would not be in front of a certified teacher would be 3 days, including the weekend. That model was proposed originally based on feedback that the district received from parents from the spring session, indicating that it was very difficult for a parent to be a teacher. There was not a strong schedule in place, and it was not a routine for learning. So based on that feedback, that general feedback, the every other day model was proposed. However, the district has received feedback from parents indicating that that model is very confusing for childcare. So the 2-1-2 model emphasizes and supports childcare in a less confusing way. However, it does put in a gap of a longer period of time where students are not in person directly with a certified teacher. So again, no model is perfect. There are variations to many of these models. The one model for Lockport emphasizes instructional time in front of a certified teacher, maximizes that. The other model is more child care friendly.
Entonces, cuando empezamos planeando para el otoño, elegimos hacer el programa en que los estudiantes asisten a escuela cada otro día. Desde ese entonces, aprendimos del horario 2-1-2, en que los estudiantes del Grupo Azul asistirán a la escuela el lunes y martes, y los del Oro los jueves y viernes. Y todo el mundo va a recibir aprendizaje remoto el miércoles. Pero no hay ningún sistema perfecto. Cada sistema tiene sus ventajas y desventajas. En cuanto del programa de cada otro día, ese programa, la ventaja de esto es que máxima el tiempo en que los estudiantes están en la presencia de un maestro certificado. Significa en un periodo de 2 semanas, ellos tendrán 5 días en frente de un maestro certificado con un descanso no más de 3 días. Y esto pero debido a los comentarios que recibimos de los padres en cuanto de lo que hicimos en la primavera, ese programa es difícil en cuanto de no, es más difícil, establecer una rutina y requiere que los padres sean maestros, que es más difícil. Pero otra desventaja es en cuanto de planear cuidado de los niños. En cuanto del programa 212, ese programa encaja más con la necesidad de daycare o cuidado de los niños, pero claro que significa que los estudiantes están afuera de la escuela por más tiempo. Entonces, al fin, yo quiero recordarles que no hay sistema perfecto, pero estamos tratando de maximizar el tiempo que los estudiantes tienen en frente de los maestros certificados.
Will students need to have a set of supplies for home and a set for school, or will they be allowed to bring items back and forth?
Y los estudiantes tienen que tener un equipo de suministros para la casa y otro para la escuela, o ellos pueden llevar el mismo equipamiento a la escuela y a la casa.
Mrs. Schrader, would you respond to that, please?
Absolutely.
No, you've been working on that with Mrs. Hall.
Yes. Students at the grade K to 6 level will be provided a set of supplies that they can use while at school and will be sent home if we go to 100% remote learning. Students whose families are choosing 100% remote learning will also be provided with those same supplies. Parents may wish to secure some basic supplies for use at home.
Sí, para contestar esto, los estudiantes de Kinder a 6 que están participando en el sistema mezclado recibirán un equipo de herramientas o un equipo de suministros que pueden usar en la escuela y en la casa, y también a las familias que han elegido aprendizaje remoto también recibirán un equipamiento de suministros.
My child is signed up to do remote learning. She will be attending daycare and may not be able to log on at the time requested. How will this affect her attendance and other aspects?
Mi hija ha elegido tomar aprendizaje remoto mientras que ella está en daycare. Es posible que no tendrá acceso al internet. ¿Cómo esto afectará a su aprendizaje y a las notas?
The schedule and for remote asynchronous learning opportunities should be reviewed between the parent and the teacher and the child care provider to determine flexibility within that asynchronous learning day. Any child care provider or daycare provider having difficulty with accessing technology can certainly reach out to Dr. LaPuma and our technology department for assistance.
Para los estudiantes que han elegido aprendizaje remoto completo, debe coordinar entre los padres y los de daycare y los maestros para asegurar que tengan acceso o para determinar la mejor manera para lidiar con esto. Y también, si tiene problemas con esto, puede contactar al doctor LaPuma para obtener más información acerca de acceso al internet.
Okay, we have 2 questions, same topic. For the full remote option, will the students be with an in-person teacher or with a separate teacher?
Y tenemos dos preguntas acerca del mismo tema. Entonces, para la opción en persona, ¿los estudiantes están con el mismo maestro o con maestros diferentes?
For the days the children are learning from home, will they be checking in with their normal teacher, or will there be one teacher for remote learning and a different teacher for classroom learning?
Y cuando los estudiantes están participando en aprendizaje remoto, ellos tendrán el mismo maestro hay un maestro para aprendizaje en persona y otro para aprendizaje remoto.
So just to clarify, one is asking who their teacher will be for fully remote, and one is asking for the hybrid model, who their teachers will be and will they be different.
Y para clarificar, una pregunta está preguntando quién será el maestro para aprendizaje remoto completo, y la segunda pregunta pregunta si para el programa mezclado el maestro en persona será diferente del maestro de aprendizaje remoto.
What will likely be happening, again, based on enrollment, and we'll have a better idea by the end of this week, in staffing, students who are registered for the full remote learning model through the first quarter of the school year will be assigned to a full remote teacher. So that teacher will be responsible for that full remote learning class of students. For students in the hybrid model, their remote learning teacher will be the same teacher who is their in-person classroom teacher.
Y estamos finalizando esto, entonces tendremos una respuesta más fija al fin de semana, pero por el momento, para los estudiantes que han elegido aprendizaje remoto completo, ellos siguen con el mismo maestro para todas las lecciones, y la misma cosa para los estudiantes en el programa mezclado. Ellos tendrán el mismo maestro para las lecciones en persona y las lecciones remotas.
My son is a high school student and is going to do remote learning. His class schedule includes 2 chorus classes. Will these classes be offered remotely? If not, what will take the place of these classes?
Y mi hijo está participando en aprendizaje remoto y su horario incluye 2 clases de coro. Él todavía tiene esas clases, y si la respuesta es no, ¿qué toma el lugar de estas clases?
Our special area teachers, special area being physical education, art, and music. The teachers and the department chair people in those departments are currently working on developing learning experiences, in-person, hybrid, and remote learning experiences. Specific questions relating to the high school schedule may be directed to Mrs. Wilkie, the Lockport High School principal, or the child's counselor at Lockport High School.
En cuanto de las clases especiales que incluyen educación física, arte y música, actualmente el personal de estos departamentos está trabajando para desarrollar lecciones para en persona, para remoto y para el sistema mezclado. Mientras tanto, si tiene preguntas, puede contactar a la directora de Lockport High School, señora Wilkie, o el consejero de su hijo en la escuela secundaria.
This is, so basically, there's basically no info on what the children's remote learning schedule will look like until when. I think they're asking when will the remote learning schedules be available.
Entonces, esa pregunta es cuándo tenemos los horarios para los estudiantes de aprendizaje remoto.
Once full remote learning instruction registration closes on Thursday, August 20th, 2020, classrooms will be developed, teachers will be assigned, and then teachers will be contacting the families for those students who have been assigned to their full remote learning classroom.
A la vez de que se cierra la inscripción para las lecciones remotas este jueves, el 20, después de cerrar la inscripción, vamos a hacer los horarios, se designan los maestros y los maestros van a contactar a los padres de estos estudiantes con los horarios.
If we signed up for the Y program but are doing remote the first 10 weeks, will they adjust that?
Si inscribimos con el programa de Y, pero elegimos hacer aprendizaje remoto para las primeras 10 semanas, ellos hacen ajustes para esto.
Ms. Coder, please respond to that question. Thank you.
The district will ask that question on behalf of this parent and other parents who may have the same questions. And we will post the answer to the website when we have it. But in the meantime, if you'd like to reach out to the Y program contact that you normally speak with, you could ask that question of them directly.
El distrito hará esa pregunta y pondrá la respuesta en nuestro website, pero mientras tanto, si le gustaría contactar directamente a su contacto de YMCA, puede hacer esto.
I submitted the remote learning form online. Do I still need to contact the principal at the high school?
Yo entregué el formulario para aprendizaje remoto online. ¿Todavía tengo que contactar al director de la escuela?
If the form was completed prior to Monday, August 10th, it should have been received, but as a follow-up, it might be a good idea to contact the school's principal.
Si se cumplió el formulario antes del lunes, el 10 de agosto, el formulario debe estar completo, pero todavía sea buena idea contactar al director de la escuela.
We kind of touched on this, but just to follow up, will the students be provided school lunches or will they be required to bring in their own lunch from home? Will breakfast be provided as an option?
Los estudiantes recibirán comida o almuerzo en la escuela o tienen que traer comida de la casa y también el desayuno se provienen de las escuelas.
And if I could add, I know the other night we had a similar question asking about snacks. So maybe we could address bringing food from home in general.
Y el otro día, otra noche, tenemos una pregunta parecida acerca de meriendas. Entonces, si podemos hablar de traer comida a la escuela en general.
Ms. Coder, please.
Thank you, President Young. Each student attending school will be provided with one free breakfast and one free lunch daily. Students will go home with one breakfast and one lunch for their non-cohort day. Parents can choose to send meals in with their children instead of eating the school meals. They can also choose to send in snacks for their child. Parents who have chosen the 100% remote learning model will have the opportunity to pick up 5 breakfasts and 5 lunches every Tuesday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at their child's school. More information will be on the district website as details are finalized.
Did you first say that was every Monday they could pick it up?
Tuesday.
Entonces, se proviene a cada estudiante un desayuno y un almuerzo gratis Y también para los estudiantes en el programa mezclado, ellos van a recibir un desayuno y un almuerzo para los días en que está haciendo aprendizaje remoto. También se puede traer comida de la casa, incluyendo meriendas para los estudiantes que han elegido aprendizaje remoto completo. Ellos pueden buscar cinco días de comida cada martes entre las 4 y las 6, y más información acerca de esto se mandará a la casa.
Will students at gym time be required to wear their masks? Will the students be able to use the playground?
Y los estudiantes en la clase de educación física o de gym tienen que poner las mascarillas, y también los estudiantes pueden usar el playground.
The Physical Education Department, under the direction of Mr. Sabrowski, who is the Physical Education Department Director, are continuing to plan physical education activities with the new school schedule. There will be more of an emphasis on physical education being more individual rather than team sports. Students will be provided, at least at the elementary level, with physical education kits, and physical education will occur outdoors. And again, the use of masks will be at the discretion of the physical education teachers, depending on the location and the activity.
El señor Strakowski, el director del programa de educación física, sigue desarrollando los programas de educación física. Ellos tendrán un énfasis en actividades individuales en comparación de deportes de equipos. Se lleva a cabo la educación física afuera, y los estudiantes en la escuela elementaria recibirán un conjunto para la clase de educación física, y acerca de llevar puesto las mascarillas, esto es a discreción del maestro.
What should the child do about school attendance if a parent or caretaker tests positive?
¿Y qué debe hacer un estudiante acerca de asistencia si su padre o su proveedor de salud salió con prueba positiva para corona?
It will be important for that parent to contact the Department of Health and the healthcare provider to determine if testing should occur on other individuals, if contact tracing should begin through the Department of Health, and if quarantine is necessary, is authorized by the Department of Health.
En como este caso es importante o es crítico que el individuo contacta a proveedor de salud personal, y también que contacte al Departamento de Salud para determinar si tiene que hacer rastreo de contacto, una prueba de corona o la cuarentena.
I would like my child to do remote learning for the entire school year. Is this possible?
Me gustaría que mi hijo haga aprendizaje remoto para el año escolar entero. ¿Esto es posible?
It may be possible depending on any executive orders from Governor Cuomo, the metrics that are in place, and any adjustments that the district may be required to take based on mandates and metrics.
Quizás que sea posible, pero debido a algunas órdenes ejecutivas del gobierno, las medidas puestas y algunos otros ajustes que se hacen durante el año.
We touched on the music, but this question is, with the 2-1-2 setup, how will art and music be handled? Will they do art and music from home also?
Ya hablemos de música, pero esa pregunta es acerca de arte y música. Si ellos hacen un horario 2-1-2, los alumnos hacen arte y música de la casa, ¿cómo funciona esto?
Special areas of art, music, and physical education may be both synchronous and asynchronous opportunities, depending on the schedule, depending on the special area schedule for each individual classroom. And those departments, physical education, art, and music departments, are in the process of planning both of those types of learning experiences.
En cuanto de las clases especiales de arte, música y educación física, habrá oportunidades para participar en estas clases en ambas situaciones, es decir, aprendizaje remoto o aprendizaje en persona. Y actualmente el personal de estos departamentos está trabajando para desarrollar actividades para esas clases.
We had this question before, but we'll go over it again just to make sure anybody that came in late gets that answer. So if my child goes back to school in November, she will have a new teacher, and will there be spaces available to support this?
Entonces ya tuvimos esa pregunta, pero vamos a repasarla para algunas personas que han llegado tarde. Mi hija regresa a escuela en noviembre, ella tendrá un nuevo maestro y hay espacio para los estudiantes.
The concept at this time, but again, I remind the audience that school reopening guidance changes rapidly. It evolves continuously, and what is happening now may look very different from the end of the first quarter in the Lockport City School District. Concept is that if a student is assigned to a full remote learning teacher, that upon return, if the district is able and allowed to return to a full in-person model for all students and all staff, that remote teacher would transition to an in-person classroom teacher. But as I say that, I just want to remind everybody that depending on mandates and executive orders from the governor and guidance from the New York State Education Department and the Department of Health, that type of a concept could change.
Entonces yo quiero recordar a todo el mundo que el concepto ahora es que cuando los estudiantes regresen a la escuela en persona, ellos siguen con el maestro, pero yo tengo que clarificar que las guías siguen cambiando y todo depende en los mandatos o los órdenes del gobernador o del Departamento de Salud o Departamento de Educación. Y es posible que la situación sería diferente en ese entonces en comparación con cómo es ahora.
Going to read these three. They're more comments than questions.
Y voy a leer esas tres, son más comentarios que preguntas.
I believe our children should be in school 5 days, but that's not going to happen. So I at least hope you stay with every other day. As you are correct, it gives children more interaction with true teachers.
Yo espero que los estudiantes estuvieran en clase por 5 días. Ustedes son correctos que, pero yo creo que no es posible. Entonces yo creo que deben hacer el programa de cada otro día porque ustedes son correctos en que esto da más tiempo con maestro, ¿verdad?
I think that all children and staff should be required to get a COVID test prior to the first day of schools.
Y yo creo que todos los estudiantes y el personal debe tener una prueba de corona antes del primer día de escuela.
why is there no mandate for testing prior to allowing all our children are back to school to congregate at least 5 days prior to at least get a grasp on how many children in the district either have COVID or are carrying it not knowingly, infecting others? Since the schools already require physicals and immunization shots, why not require this in the time of crisis, mandatory weekly testing for all students so we can catch an outbreak prior?
Entonces, ¿por qué no es mandatorio que los estudiantes hacen una prueba de corona antes de regresar a la escuela para determinamos cuáles son los estudiantes infectados y cuáles son los estudiantes que están llevando el virus sin su conocimiento? Y la escuela ya requiere unos físicos y vacunas. ¿Por qué ellos no pueden hacer pruebas de corona semanalmente para evitar un brote?
If a child in the high school is 100% remote learning, are they still eligible for sports?
Y si un estudiante está haciendo aprendizaje remoto completo, ¿todavía está elegible para participar en deportes?
The New York State Public High School Athletic Association has postponed, delayed the start of the sports season. It will be reviewed around the end of September. Lockport High School, Lockport City School District is part of Section 6 athletics, so they will follow NYSVA's plan, and part of that plan is to review student attendance and eligibility.
La Comisión de Deportes para Escuelas Secundarias en Nueva York posponió el comienzo de deportes hasta el fin de septiembre. Entonces, Lockport High School está en la División 6 y va a cumplir con esta guía.
Are students attending BOCES all going on buses that are fully loaded, or are there going to be more buses provided? And how are the juniors going to get to the high school in the late morning? Are they going to be picked up on remote learning days?
Y los estudiantes, para los estudiantes que están participando en BOCES, ellos están montando buses llenos de estudiantes o parcialmente llenos de estudiantes. Y en cuanto de los juniors que están participando en BOCES, cómo ellos llegan a la escuela en los días de aprendizaje remoto.
Ms. Coder, please respond to the question.
Yes, all students who attend BOCES will be going to BOCES in either Medina or Sanborn on socially distanced buses of no more than 22 students on a bus. For those students who attend BOCES who are juniors and are attending on their non-cohort days, on the non-cohort days, they will be required to find transportation to the high school, and we will deliver them to BOCES on their non-cohort days from the high school.
Todos los estudiantes participando en BOCES van a asistir a las clases en Medina o en Sanborn, y ellos montan buses con no más de 22 estudiantes en cada bus. En cuanto de los estudiantes, cuando tienen un día de aprendizaje remoto, se requiere buscar alguien para llevarlos a la escuela secundaria, pero de la escuela secundaria los lleven en un bus a BOCES.
Okay, we've got 3 more questions listed, and I think we will try to wrap up this parent session. I know it is a middle of a workday, and we need all of our administrators to get back to planning all of this to try to get even more questions answered for everyone. So if we did not get to your question today during this session, I encourage everybody to reach out to your building principals, reach out to a board member, reach out to the administrators. There's also an FAQ page on the district website. If you go to the reopening page and there's a submit a question at the bottom of the FAQs, your question might be listed already on the FAQs. We will be updating that as we get more questions in. So we want to try to get everybody's answers as much as we can. So gonna, and so I just see a question came in, if there's going to be a transcript of the questions and answered. We do try to update the FAQs so that all the questions are getting answered, yes.
Entonces tenemos 3 preguntas más y después de esto vamos a tratar de concluir la sesión. Y para la gente a quien no pudimos contestar su pregunta, les pido disculpa, pero les animo a contactar a los directores de los edificios o los miembros de comisión de escuela. Y también se encuentra en nuestro website una lista de FAQ o las preguntas frecuentes. Puede buscar si su pregunta se encuentra allá y estamos actualizando esa lista de preguntas también. And the interpreter states, I'm sorry, did you state that there would be a transcript?
Rob, where would it be the specific transcript?
The questions can be posted on the frequently asked questions page on the website. Just posted in the questions center, and I'll read. Is at www.lockportschools.org/FAQ.
Y puede encontrar esas preguntas frecuentes en www.lockportschools.org, línea FAQ.
Okay. This question is, what is the cleaning process between classes at the high school level? But I'd also like to touch on just the cleaning process in general at all of the schools if we could.
Y la pregunta específica es cuáles son los procedimientos de limpiar la escuela entre clases en la escuela secundaria, pero yo quiero hacer esa pregunta acerca de procedimientos de limpieza en general para todas las escuelas.
Mr. Parker, would you please answer this question? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Our process right now is we will disinfect every building every night, as well as any surfaces that are shared. So if it's a shared service during the day, we are trying to figure out how we're going to get those disinfectant. We have a plan in place, and we're just sorting out the details right now.
Entonces vamos a desinfectar cada escuela cada noche y también vamos a desinfectar cualquier superficie compartida entre los estudiantes. Entonces este es el plan y en el momento estamos planchando los detalles del plan.
This was revisiting the sports eligibility question. Does that mean that if a child is remote learning and the plan is reviewed at the end of September, that it is possible they may be considered ineligible once sports commence?
Y en cuanto de los deportes, si un estudiante está tomando actualmente clases remotas completas, si se determina al fin de septiembre que puede reempezar los deportes, significa que este estudiante tomando clases remotas no es elegible.
Since athletics is governed in the state of New York by NISFA, the New York State Public High School Athletic Association, and all of the sections contained under NISFA, that's a question that remains outstanding in terms of guidance. So we are waiting for guidance from NISFA in Section 6 for attendance and eligibility.
Porque todos los deportes en Nueva York, porque todos los deportes de escuelas en Nueva York caen bajo de NISPA, la Asociación de Deportes para Escuelas Secundarias de New York. La respuesta es, no, todavía no tenemos una respuesta a esa pregunta. Estamos esperando guía de esa organización.
Okay, and this will just kind of be a good wrap-up question, I think. These two, there's two questions, but one topic.
Y al fin tenemos dos preguntas, buenas preguntas para terminar nuestra cita. Hay dos preguntas que se tratan de del mismo tema.
On the days that children are not in the classroom, will they be on remote or just remote on Wednesday? Which plan are we following? Every other day or 2-1-2?
En los días en que los estudiantes no están en la clase, ¿ellos están en aprendizaje remoto o solo los miércoles? Y estamos siguiendo ¿cuál plan? ¿Lo de 2-1-2 o lo de cada otro día?
First question, please. Repeat.
They're wondering which days they will be remote, if it's the days they're not in school or just Wednesdays. And so I think that there's confusion about which plan and what days kids will be on remote.
So when a student is not in person in school, those will be considered remote days, regardless of the schedule. And in terms of which schedule the district is going with, we are waiting for the completion of the parent question and answer sessions to determine if there is full support or more support for one model over the other. And a decision will hopefully be reviewed and then determined following the completion of the question and answer sessions.
En cuanto de la primera pregunta, cualquier día en que los estudiantes no están en la escuela se considera un día de aprendizaje remoto. Acerca de la segunda pregunta, estamos esperando cumplir estas sesiones de preguntas y respuestas para determinar si tenemos más apoyo para un programa y otro, y ojalá después, un poquito después de cerrar esas sesiones, se tomará una decisión.
Okay. I would like to thank all of the parents for tuning in with us, and I appreciate all the questions, and we will continue to keep everyone updated. It is, as the superintendent has mentioned before, a fluid plan. It is still a work in progress, and just hang in there with us, and we are all going to get through this together. Thank you.
Entonces, otra vez yo quiero agradecerles por su participación y vamos a seguir manteniéndoles tanto. Y otra vez, como mencionó la superintendente, que es un plan en evolución, entonces por eso le pido paciencia de ustedes y ojalá que vamos a resolver todo esto juntos. Gracias.
Thank you, everyone.
Gracias todo el mundo.